Good morning, everyone. I think we have a few people that are still probably hopping on. My name is Chelsea Dyer. I am the Manager of Engagement with the Wichita Chamber of Commerce. All of our attendees are muted. If you've attended one of our virtual Sunrise Scramblers, you know the drill. So feel free to chat in any questions that you have during the program. You can use the chat function and you can actually send it to all attendees, or you can just do all panelists, but that way everyone can see your question if you do it to all attendees. You can also use the Q&A. We'll try and keep an eye on both of those during the program. We are recording the call. It will be posted probably within the next week and a half. If you want to come back and check out anything that you need to rewatch, because I know we'll have a lot of great information being shared today. Just again, if you called in, please chat in your name. At the end of this, we'll actually be drawing for one free 2021 Breakfast Club pass. So everyone that's on the call, I'll be entering your name into a random name drawing generator, and then I'll draw that at the end. So if you called in, please chat in your name so we can make sure to add you to that. Just a reminder that International Social Media Day is June 30th, and that's one of the reasons that we're focusing on digital platforms during this Scrambler. Speaking of social media, I hope that you have been, and if not yet, that you will be participating in the Chamber's annual #Wichita Flag Summer Travel Contest. So far, we have more than 70 entries, and the Wichita flag has visited 9 states. So be sure to check out ilovewichita.org or the @WichitaFlag social media channels for contest guidelines on how to win some fun flag swag. So this morning, our presenting sponsor is Golden Plains Credit Union, and I am going to turn it over to Debbie Foster, Vice President of Community Relations, for a few remarks.
Hi, everyone. Golden Plains is proud to be your presenting sponsor again and so with all this pandemic thing, I just wanted to give you an update on what our processes have been. Our lobbies are back open now. We've been back open this is our 4th week now, and we are requiring all members to wear masks when they come into the facilities. And also all of our employees have to wear masks when they're not in their office or cubicles. So even participating with other employees or any small meetings we have here, we social distance 6 feet apart and have to wear masks. So we are, taking this very seriously for our protection as well as our members' protection. And I know I told you last time that we had our couple of specials, our Money for Nothing Skip a Pay program going on, where they could skip 1 or 2 months worth of payments for April through June. And we've helped 4,277 members skip their payments in this time period so far. And then we also had our Freedom Loans where they could borrow up to $2,000. We had a lot of members requesting a little more than that. So we upped that to $4,000 for 18 months. And we've done 92 loans for a total of $259,000 as of last Friday. So we're trying to do our best to help our members get through this difficult time. So thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you for your sponsorship, and thank you so much for being such a great partner to your customers. That's amazing how much you guys have been able to give back to them and help them out.
Thanks.
Our Showcase Biz sponsor this morning is Davis Moore Automotive Group. So we appreciate their continued sponsorship and supporting the Chamber. And then now I'd like to turn it over to Gary Plummer, President and CEO of the Wichita Chamber, to introduce our speakers today.
Thank you, Chelsea. Good morning, everyone. We're so glad that you joined us today to highlight a few Chamber members who have successfully responded to some of the business disruptions in 2020. True leaders emerge during challenging times, and these business leaders have inspired us with their ability to pilot new platforms, update their product offerings, and boldly experiment with new delivery options for their goods and services. Many of their success stories include digital tools that strengthen customer connections and grew audiences for their business. And as Chelsea indicated, that's a great fit for chamber programming too. Our moderator today is Marisa VanSkiver with Hexcode Designs. Marisa has 15 years of experience in the development of websites and other tools that help her clients share their stories, fine-tune their messaging, and enhance their branding. Marisa and her team signed more social media clients in a 1-month period during the stay-at-home period than they had in the previous year. That's pretty impressive, Marisa. The demand for social media expertise ramped up considerably as digital communication became a vital lifeline for businesses to share their messages with customers. Marisa's social media expertise helped her clients differentiate themselves and during the increased traffic that was taking place on all social media platforms. And now for our 3 panelists. Eddy Sandoval is an award-winning entrepreneur and graduate of Wichita State University who develops innovative and healthy food products sold internationally while also giving back to his communities. He is the founder and CEO of Pinole Blue. He's going to provide us with an inside look at how he expanded his e-commerce offerings and utilized the social media platform that his company hadn't utilized in the past. Meanwhile, Eddy and his team embraced corporate responsibility to help others in need, including providing meals for families as well as first responders. Adam Smith is the president and CEO of Exploration Place. He brings a worldwide view with international training from Scotland and England, plus 25 years of experience to his new role leading Exploration Place, which he joined last November. After closing the popular museum to visitors in response to stay-at-home guidelines during the spring, Adam's staff immediately regrouped and started delivering their STEM education mission through virtual programming. They quickly moved from minimal virtual offerings to distributing more than 120 free activities and programs during a 2-month period. Canceling their summer camp programming to ensure visitor safety, the team also developed a virtual Camp in a Box program with hands-on activity kits mailed to participants and their very grateful parents. And finally, Jennifer McDonald is the founder, CEO, and chief winemaker of Wichita's first urban winery, Dawn Cellars. Jennifer brings more than a decade of business leadership skills to her venture, as well as a master's in agribusiness from Kansas State. During the stay-at-home period, her winery quickly pivoted to curbside pickup for wine, sangria, and more. A big win for her business was procuring a special license so that she could ship her products throughout Kansas and to 37 other states. And she initiated new online programming, including virtual wine tasting sessions in April and May. All of these members can provide you with some new ideas this morning that you can implement for your business or organization. And we're grateful that they agreed to share their best practices with us today. In fact, just working with these panelists has already inspired the Chamber to level up our own game and Wichita Flag as well, using TikTok. So give us a follow there on TikTok, and please help welcome our panelists and our moderator. Marisa, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and dive right in because I think for a lot of us, a lot has changed over the last couple of months. So let's start with before COVID. What were you guys, who were you trying to typically reach? Jenny, I mean, you're a winery, physical location, same thing, Adam. So for you guys, and Jenny, let's start with you. How has your target market changed? Where was it before, and how has that changed since COVID started?
That's a great question. So we were super excited to serve our guests here at the winery before COVID started. So our winery, is where we were really focused to draw customers in and have that wine tasting experience with us, as well as wine education. But when the stay-at-home order took place, customers could no longer come into our physical winery location, but we still wanted to offer our great wines as well as wine education. So it really forced us to take a good hard look at our business model and see how we could continue to attract new customers, but as well as stay engaged with our loyal current customers. So we were grateful to be able to offer curbside pickup. So customers would go to our website and place an order, and within 30 minutes, we would have it ready to walk out to their vehicle with a mask and glove on, so we could deliver that service safely. And then we also were able to attract a whole new group of customers through our social media channels to drive traffic to our new website that allows us to ship to 37 different states. So we were actually able to grow our footprint through this pandemic.
That is awesome. And it's just a true testament, I think, of some of the things that you guys both have faced as well. Adam, talk to us a little bit about your target market. How has that changed at all since COVID? Because there again, you've got a physical location that people can or cannot come into right now.
Yeah. Morning, everyone. In some ways, our target market didn't change at all because we're a mission-driven organization. So our target, at least conceptually, is like everybody on planet Earth. We want to inspire with the joy of science and learning and exploration and discovery. But more realistically, our target market, I think, has generally been the metro area of Wichita, and maybe schools and within a couple of hours drive. And in some ways that remains our target market. A lot of the participation that we've had in our virtual programming has been from those groups. But the fun thing and the big opportunity that's, I think, still on a daily basis starting to unfold in front of our eyes is that it's almost liberating to be able, once you've created a means to deliver your mission literally to anyone in planet Earth, that they don't have to come to Exploration Place and to the physical premises. It is liberating that we've sold camps to Germany. We have military families that know Exploration Place because they're from Wichita, but they're stationed in Germany. Their kids can now go to camp at Exploration Place. 3 months ago, I don't think we could even have imagined that that would happen, but it's real and it's happening, and we're getting tremendous feedback from it. So the sort of nuances of our target market, I think the thing that that's never going to change after COVID-19 is we're going to have much more of a sort of regional, global kind of view about how we can deliver our mission.
That's really cool. And I think what I'm noticing in what both of you had said so far is, nothing really changed so much that your audience got broader. And both of you so far have a very regional target base because you have physical places. Eddie, talk to us a little bit about how yours has changed. Have you seen a wider reach like they have?
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. I think with ours at the beginning of the lockdown, we're known for food manufacturing. We're making tortillas and other food products. But since we have our food establishment license, at the beginning of the lockdown, we kind of sensed that a lot of restaurants were going to be closing. So we decided to sell food, but it was just family meal plans. We were doing enchiladas, enchiladas meals, and then we were also doing tamales, which we were selling since last winter. And at the beginning, we were offering free delivery within Wichita just to help out, but we noticed that 70% of our customers wanted to come to pick it up. I think people are just wanting to get out of their house. So that's where we started making more like funny social media videos and pictures, just because everyone's going through a tough time. So we wanted to try to get to those type of to all the customers that wanted, that were tired of cooking and wanted food. And I think that platform, when we first launched those products, we had tons of people that just thought we're a Mexican restaurant. I don't think people know that we're only a tortilla factory. So that helped us a lot to get our name out there. And then since we were selling so much, we were even giving away 100 family meals every week to displaced restaurant workers. So I think on the social impact, that helped us a lot get our name out there within Wichita. And once the restaurants opened, we decided to take a step back and stop selling food so people could go support their local restaurants, because we actually provide tortillas to a couple local restaurants. And I think in April, we started our TikTok account because my business partner was telling me so much about this TikTok. I thought it was just a bunch of dancing videos, but happens to be that Chipotle and Wendy's were one of the first 2 early ones to jump on TikTok, and they've really exploded. So we did a video, nothing special, just talks about how we started, and it reached, I don't know, I think it's close to 500,000 views. And it's our very first video, like we hadn't done anything. And so that just exploded our online platform now. So now we've been feeding TikTok as much as we can, and we've been trying to get better with that. And now this is helping us reach a whole different market. I mean, we were already shipping online. We already had our e-commerce, but this has really made it explode. Now we have people all over the US watching our videos and really understand what we're doing. And then here, we do have a little retail shop that in our facility where you can come in and buy your tortillas just 2 days a week, but we lock the front door, but we have a doorbell or people knock and then we come out, take out their stuff. But I think the social media aspect has really been huge right now because one, you have a lot of people on their phones during the lockdown. And two, I think with everything going on, when customers or society sees positivity of entrepreneurship, of success, I think that's really helped us really explode. And that's what has been helping us.
No, I totally agree. And honestly, we're probably going to talk about TikTok a little bit more today, which 6 months ago, I would never have told you I would be talking about TikTok this much. But as one of my friend's kids put it, Mom really took over TikTok during COVID. And if anything, that has really expanded for a lot of people because it is such a new platform, but it's so quickly growing. So Eddie, for you, you saw an increase in your online sales just from one social media account, and you were able to provide a service. And Jennifer, you were able to go and start selling online, which is incredible. And then even the same with Exploration Place, which, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about that as we talk about digital delivery of services and products. You didn't do any of that before COVID, correct? All the digital delivery stuff is new to you guys.
Right. I mean, this is literally brand new. We had social media accounts that were basically marketing accounts, just letting the world know the different exhibits and activities that we were doing. But in terms of digital delivery of our mission, the educational side of it, I think I'm certainly not aware of anything having been done. And here we sit less than 3 months after we started doing it, and it's just exploded. And it's interesting for me personally because I've been an advocate for digital delivery of museum programming, for a long time. About 15 years ago, I got a big grant from the state of Wisconsin where I was working at the time, and we installed this wonderful distance education classroom at our museum. The problem we had was that the world wasn't ready for it. You can have a great distance education classroom, but if nobody's ready to receive your programming, so I got a $750,000 grant, but I would actually say that program failed. But it's been something I've been very interested in. In my previous job at Comic-Con in San Diego, we were building a brand new museum, and from day one we talked about the real museum and also the virtual museum. But Exploration Place had never really done that. And I think one of the things that this whole crisis created was an opportunity for me to accelerate something I probably intended to do in my first couple of years at Exploration Place. Suddenly it's right there in front of you. We got to do this now, and we got to do it fast. So I can't speak highly enough of my team, the way that they responded to that challenge, because we've basically gone from 0 to 100 miles an hour. In fact, within a month, we'd done that. My feeling is that what has happened in the last 3 months, not just for Exploration Place, but for our society in general, we have just passed the tipping point relative to virtual education. The need has created it's something that I feel I've been like trying to advocate for, but the rest of the world, I don't know. But I feel in 3 months, we just jumped ahead 10 years think about what we're all doing right now. How many of the attendees here have done anything like this, a Zoom call where, you know, and it's the same for schools and families and parents and teachers. And so that's the opportunity that's coming out of this.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what's really incredible. And I agree with that COVID has really given us, I mean, look at all these tools. Zoom is not new. And a lot of that digital delivery stuff is not new, but we haven't been utilizing it because we didn't have the need. I mean, Eddie, for you guys, you were doing online sales and you said that you saw a huge growth from that because of COVID. Is there anything else that's changed with your digital delivery? Have you guys adjusted anything just other than the channels that you're using to promote that?
We haven't adjusted too much. I mean, we were always very active on Facebook and Instagram, but I think just to give you a perspective is once we started TikTok, we went from, I think 20% to 30% of our sales were just Kansas, and then the neighboring states, Colorado and Texas, made up probably the other 40%. As soon as we start TikTok, Kansas now makes up 10% of our e-commerce, and every other state is just huge. We've only had our TikTok account for 2 months, and it has close to 50,000 followers. So TikTok has really just taken us nationally to another level. And the other thing that's been helping us a lot with TikTok is because since we're selling products, we also do a lot of wholesaling, how many buyers for big stores and corporations are on TikTok actually looking at it. And you'd imagine that the age demographic was young on TikTok, but no, it is very diverse. Yeah, you have a bunch of the younger generation, I'm not that old, really on there doing the dancing videos and stuff, but you also have a lot of even people that are older that are actively on there looking for products. I have restaurants now calling me from different states wanting to carry my tortillas. And so I think that's been a big one. And then now we've been finding ways to now that TikTok's booming, it was taking so much of my energy, we're trying now to find ways to tie that in with our other platforms like Instagram and posting those videos on even LinkedIn. So yeah, no, TikTok has been great for us. And honestly, I think that's the way it's been feeding now with our other platforms. So we're kind of now adjusting to that part. And honestly, now we've almost had to step away from a lot of our wholesaling because we're so focused now on e-commerce.
I mean, that's a good problem to have. Something I want to point out to everybody too is something that Eddie said before with TikTok especially, is that it's a positive platform. People are really connecting to that positivity. And I think one of the reasons that TikTok has exploded, just professionally speaking, as I spent the last 3 weeks just literally scrolling videos. I'm not posting anything yet. I'm just trying to understand the platform. But it is almost 100% positive. And that is such a break for us with just everything in the world going on, with everything, you know, Facebook has become for many of us, with everything even LinkedIn is. It lets us relax and be positive. And I think, Eddie, that's why people are so connected to you, because you provide that outsource. And it's great to take that and what's working there and try it on your other platforms. So that's awesome. Jenny, you've also been growing your e-commerce sales. Can I ask, did you expect to do that soon, or is it like exploration phase and really increasing your timeline because of COVID?
We were able to increase the timeline to get online because of COVID. We were blessed to have so many people coming through our winery doors that it really kept us really busy and focused on serving guests in person. And so when that went away,
Can everybody else hear Jenny?
Team.
Oh, Jenny, I think you cut out there for a minute. Can you start over again? So the last thing I heard, at least, was when you had so many people coming in that you were able to focus on those winery customers, but then when COVID and that stopped, I think that's where we lost sound.
Can you all hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Our internet here at the winery must be a little unstable this morning, but I was mentioning that I was teaching food and wine pairing classes, before the pandemic, and even, from 2016 on. And once the pandemic hit, we decided that we wanted to continue to offer those classes, but do it in more of a virtual setting. And so I had people purchase the wines that I was going to be featuring, before the class, and then I took them through all of the tasting profiles, as well as the winemaking process that I used to make the wines and how the grapes were grown, and just did a full-blown education session online. And that seemed to go over really well. And what I thought was I would just be engaging kind of my current Winecation members, but we actually were able to connect with people in California and Florida, pretty much all across the US, that joined in and were purchasing those wines online and having them shipped to them for them to enjoy at home. And then I also was able to do kind of private wine tastings for various wine groups across the US. So that has been really exciting. And then we will continue to do those virtual wine tastings, I think, from here on out. Because what I find is some folks may be too busy to actually come and meet with me in person, but still want to engage in the activity and be a part of the session. And then it does allow people from any state to just log in from the comfort of their own home to participate as well. So that was an avenue to continue to provide that education as well as grow our sales. So, in times of pandemics or any business challenges, it's always great to just think a little bit outside of the box. Sometimes you get comfortable doing the same thing because it's working, but then once you're unable to do that, it's always great to just kind of dig deep and find that creativity to still connect with your customers and deliver a high level service.
No, and that's fantastic. And what I love about all three of you guys, excuse me, and even with the clients that we've seen over those last month, being able to see how we can pivot and change, and adding those digital delivery in places where that's not traditional, that's not something that we normally would have been doing. So I want to kind of talk about those digital efforts a little bit more. And we've talked about this quite a bit with you with social media and how that's really helped you guys. Adam, over at Exploration Place, what have you guys seen with your adjustments with your social media plan? I mean, you're reaching people that are not here locally in Wichita anymore. How have you guys changed that, and how has that worked for you guys?
I think our biggest platform was and still is Facebook. A lot of the our marketing message is really geared not really at the kids that come to Exploration Place, but at the decision makers, who are the parents or the grandparents that decide to bring their families to visit us. And I think Facebook has evolved as that's where our natural audience for decision making is. So we'd already assembled, I think, about 19,000 followers of our Facebook page, and that having that audience already assembled has been good. So a lot of the live programming that we've done has been through Facebook Live, because we already had that audience, and the way the algorithms work, whenever we post something live, it starts serving that to the people that already know us and are already connected with us as an organization. There's been a fair bit of discussion about TikTok on the call already this morning. That was the one thing that we did move reasonably quickly to embrace. we had some discussion on our team about it, because I think when we first had the conversation about TikTok, I had some pushback on the team. You know, this is just sort of dancing videos. It's not a serious platform. There may be some concerns about Chinese ownership of the company, etc., and privacy and things like that. But I started consistently seeing some of our peers doing really well on TikTok. San Diego Zoo, where I just came from, Smithsonian. The thing for me was, it was sort of a weird one, but a friend of mine runs an aviation museum in New York, the Cradle of Aviation Museum. And he posted on his Facebook page this tremendous success they'd had with TikTok. They posted one piece of content and 1 million people had watched it. And I'm like, okay, so how did a little museum in New York get 1 million people interested in how World War I airplane engines work? There's got to be an opportunity here. So the next day, I did push the team a little bit to say, okay, I respect the objections, but we got to do this. We, as an organization, we let YouTube sail right by. I think when COVID-19 started, we had 66 subscribers on our YouTube channel. I think we're up to maybe 300 right now, but we missed YouTube, frankly. But TikTok, we're on it. Now, I thought we were doing well until I heard Eddie's numbers, but we're you know, I don't think Exploration Place has ever previously put a single piece of content out and 100,000 people viewed it, you know, and that has happened on our TikTok channel. And as has been said, it's very, very positive. So we are exploring, you know, these new avenues. I'm also developing a theory that Zoom is becoming a social media channel. The extensiveness of our usage of it. In February this year, Exploration Place had no Zoom meetings whatsoever. In March, we had 32 Zoom meetings. Here in June, we will have more than 400. And you know, I think it's like 20,000 minutes of time that we will spend on Zoom. So I think it, you know, I wish I'd bought Zoom stock a few months ago, because I think there's something is happening actually with this very platform that we're on, that I think it may become the dominant human interaction social media channel, you know, that adds to the stack. So I think the two things that we've embraced are TikTok and Zoom.
It's a really interesting perspective. And Jenny, you're everything good with your technical stuff over there? Because I got a question for you. So with your wine education that you're doing virtually, are you using Zoom or are you using a different platform?
So right now we are using Facebook, and so I opened it up for Facebook Live, but we're going to transition that to Zoom just to allow for me to see the participants and for them to see each other and have it be a little bit more interactive and engaging. But Facebook Live worked for the first 4 that we did, but it's always nice to try something out and then enhance it as you go. So we're going to continue to make things even bigger and better with our wine education classes.
That is awesome. And something that I think everybody can take away from too, just because you start doing something some way doesn't mean that's where you have to stay. Eddie, you guys found that TikTok really worked for you guys and has really exploded your business. But locally, with getting the word out on family meals, how are you guys doing that? Because I remember seeing your guys' stuff, at least all over my Facebook, being one of the places to go get family meal deals. So where was it that you started with that to get that local audience?
Yeah, when we started selling the food, it was just Facebook. Our social media platforms, they kind of all have different audiences, but our Facebook one for sure, we have probably the most local followers here in Wichita. And I think since it was just a tough time and with restaurants closing and stuff, we just decided to just be a little more creative on the videos. So I think honestly, that's what helped us the most. We were making videos with like the hazmat suits and carrying food out to your car, and we were tying tamales to a drone and flying it out to people's cars. So I think it was just the humor and the positivity what really helped us explode for the Wichita market. And people really liked it. So I think that was a big one. And then also, I guess I didn't mention this with Facebook, a Facebook group started, I believe it's called Wichita COVID-19, for restaurants to post like their meal deals. It exploded like overnight. I think it probably has like over 100,000 followers. So restaurants were just posting on there, or people were just posting. And when we posted on there our meal deals, or even when we posted that we're doing meal deals, but we're donating part of our sales, I think the Wichita community just loved that. And I know like one of our posts just really exploded from that. And then that's how the momentum gained. But yeah, I think after a couple of weeks of selling food is really when we actually started the TikTok. But that's been a big one. And one thing I wanted to add, that I think could be beneficial to Adam and Jennifer, would be, even if TikTok you only get a minute to put content out there, or I think a big one has been also educational, like just explaining something. Our top video right now is one just explaining why our tortillas are different than store-bought tortillas. That's all we did. And we have some videos that we've like busted our minds just trying to be funny, creative. In this video, we just sat down and explained to people the difference, and that's been our best video. So I think right now, also even the educational part of telling people, and then you can always pull those videos and share it on YouTube or other platforms. That really helps too. But so that's kind of how we've had to adjust the different platforms and different audiences.
No, that is awesome. And I thought of something while you were talking, and then I've lost it, so I'll try to get back to that here if we can. Let's talk about success stories with sales. All of you guys have had to really adjust your businesses. You've had to completely change delivery, per se. And while we may get back to that more in-person mentality, look at that Facebook group. It's now Wichita Food and Booze. They've changed the name. And it's still one of the most active Facebook groups I am personally in. And I think that's really helped showcase too how well groups can work on Facebook and that sense of community as well. And so that helped you guys. And I was kind of wondering about that for you. But what other sales success stories have you guys had? Adam, let's start with you. It took you a little bit of time to get stuff on board, I'm sure, with the digital delivery of things. What would you say is your biggest success story over this last couple of months?
Well, in terms of sales, it's the Camp in a Box program that we developed. A lot of the content that we put out this summer has actually been free, so we're not actually selling anything. Particularly when the schools were all trying to scramble to keep education going, when kids couldn't come into the classroom. We just wanted to get some good, solid science education out there to our audiences. And so the vast majority of what we've done this year has essentially been, delivered free. But about 8 weeks ago, we started to realize that a big part of our real, revenue generating business, our summer camps, was highly unlikely to happen in the way that it has over the last 20 years. Basically, it's our 20th birthday this year, and over that time, Exploration Place has built up a really awesome summer camp program. It's a big part of the activity of the organization, and something that, we have extensive programming and marketing around. And I've still got thousands of marketing brochures sitting on a pallet somewhere that are going to be pulped because we just had to cancel the entire program. But we'd learned in the first month of the virtual programming, we'd learned enough to give us just a sense that, hey, maybe we can do this online. Maybe we can create a way of giving the summer camp experience, to our families and kids. So we'd realized that Zoom was a great platform and could handle the in-person side of it. And then the mental breakthrough we made was this kind of Camp in a Box idea where we realized that we could put together a kit of activities that we could ship out to families, and they could use that as the basis for all the fun activities and experiments. So we're in week 3 of a 10-week summer camp program right now, and we are on track to at least match the attendance at Real Camp, which for me is a miracle. We're selling these at between $75 and $90. It's a little bit less money than regular camp, which would normally be in the $120, $140 per kid range. And what's really inspiring me though is the feedback we're getting from them. I'm an inveterate surveyor. I love like learning from my audience, and I've now got 2 weeks worth of data from the camps that have already happened, and it's really clear to me that that people are loving this. The surveys that we did last week, once we got through week 1 of a few hiccups just in the way we delivered it, for the last 20 years, I've been sending out email surveys, and I've developed this theory that if on a 5-point scale, your audience is scoring you an average of 4.5 or above, you're doing pretty well, you know. And last week, every single category that we surveyed was above 4.5 on that 5-point scale. So I'm not just happy with the sales. What I'm really happy with is I know we're delivering a fantastic experience. And so I'm sure we'll want to do real summer camp next year, but I also am certain that we'll continue doing virtual camp, because that we're reaching we've got kids in Colorado and Florida and parts of Kansas, rural Kansas, that couldn't possibly attend real camp, that are having a great experience now.
Well, that's really cool, because it's not just that this is all temporary. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of skip ahead a little bit because we are running a little short on time. But like you said, you're going to still provide this service from here on out. So Eddie and Jenny, let's talk a little bit about how you guys have changed permanently because of COVID. Jenny, let's start with you. I know you said you're going to continue to do some of those virtual classes. What else do you see that's a little different that you're going to keep doing even after we go back to normal, whatever people are claiming we're going to do at some point?
Absolutely. So what we found was our Sangria and the Sun events ended up being a huge hit, where we would serve sangria on the patio and practice social distancing and just allow people to, enjoy a fun summer drink in the sun. So that's something that we started during the pandemic that we are going to continue forward with. We also were able to launch 4 new wines during the pandemic. So a wine called Union Station, Black Locomotive, Red Caboose, and a Rosé. So continuing to have product launches, even though this may not be like the ideal time to do that, you still do have to kind of push forward and offer new wines for people to enjoy. So we did experience some good sales through the Sangria and the Sun and our wine release, but we even found how we first planned for our wine release. We were going to have 4 ticketed events throughout the day. We actually found that people weren't quite ready to purchase a ticket, come to an event. They just wanted to have it be more casual, come and go. And so we were able to kind of switch gears and change the agenda for our wine release. So I think, we're entering this time where there's still some uncertainty about being in a public space. So we're really trying to cater to our guests and let them tell us kind of what they're ready to do, and then we'll continue those services moving forward. It's all about, like Adam said, getting customer feedback and working through things that they are comfortable with to keep them safe as well as our team members safe.
Right, 100%. I mean, there are people that are definitely a little bit nervous still, and they're going to continue to be so, and that's where, some of our restaurant clients are still seeing huge to-go numbers, for instance, because people are not quite ready to dine in all the time. Eddie, so let's talk a little bit about something that you guys have changed? I know you guys did food service, but you've stopped that. Is there anything that you've started doing that you're going to keep doing?
Yeah, not too much has changed. We're still gonna probably keep the food on hold. I think we may pick up the tamales again in the fall, and especially during the holiday season when they're very popular. But I think one thing that we've been adjusting more has been with our wholesale accounts. I mean, because we sell a lot of our cookies and stuff to coffee shops, and a lot of coffee shops are still struggling to come back. So that's where we noticed, instead of putting a lot of our energy on trying to reach out to these wholesalers and coffee shops and specialty shops, we can still focus mostly on grocery stores because they're still having plenty of traffic. And then the other one is, I think we're just going to continue to try to establish us more with all our online shipping, because we even sell tortillas online. We ship those. Because we were doing a lot of wholesale with white tortillas, with Hispanic stores mostly. But right now, I think we're just having to take a little step to establish ourselves with all the online platform because it's just exploded. We've been shipping so much now that it's been taking so much of our time. So, and then storing all those tortillas so we can ship them out. So I think for right now, we're just gonna take a step back from the wholesaling on the white tortillas, get our online platform established. We may have to expand, and then we can go back into wholesaling and maybe go back into food.
That is really cool. So I'm going to talk about something that didn't work. Did any one of you, and this question's open to any of you, want to raise your hand if you've got an answer, something that didn't work that you tried and that you kind of had to abandon and you knew it wasn't going to work now? Adam, you talked about how, things are now finally ready for digital delivery, but have you guys tried anything that didn't work for you?
Yeah, we have. One of the platforms we've tried to reach into is Twitch. So for those that are not familiar, this is the #1 platform. If you're a hardcore video gamer, this is where all the video gamers are streaming live video gaming. And we've got a really wonderful planetarium at Exploration Place, so we can go and explore the universe. And we realized that we had the capability to live stream from the planetarium, what would normally be seen on the big dome theater. So we set up we set it up like a regular Twitch stream where our educator has got a green screen behind him, and he's kind of there on screen while we're going to explore the universe. And when the mission went to the International Space Station a couple of weeks ago, we did a program all around that. Was it you never know until you try things. That as a stream, it was great. I mean, really, it's a high quality streaming platform. We wanted to use the HD capability and things like that. We just couldn't get an audience. I think like 20 people have watched it. And so, we've learned, I think we'll probably see some value from that exercise in the future, because it's going to give our younger audience, it's something that they love Twitch, and they love the whole sort of idiom of how the content is being presented. So we learned something, but it was not a success in terms of reaching an audience.
It's awesome though that you guys tried it, because it is, it's a different platform, and at least, like you said, it's always worth trying something and investing a little bit of the time, because it can explode. Eddie, have you guys had anything that you've tried that just kind of fell flat for you?
So I mentioned earlier the ticketed events. So with our wine release party, we wanted to try and stay within, having 30 people in our space at one time. And so we had kind of 4 different activities that they could come to. And we put it out there for probably 2 or 3 weeks and just weren't getting our normal ticket sales. And so if it was before COVID, we would have been 75% sold out. But we really had very few ticket sales. So we just abandoned that idea and moved forward with a more open come and go type activities. So, people's appetites for being in settings together and having to pay a ticket for it just wasn't there. So we learned that lesson, and I think we're probably going to hold off until maybe August, and we'll have to kind of play it by ear and just see where those COVID numbers, you know, are at that time before we start offering ticketed events again.
Yeah, I mean, and you're part of that industry because you're a little bit of a hybrid that, I mean, and we've all seen it, huge artists are doing different things to get their music out there. You know, with the at-home concerts, Garth Brooks is going to be doing his drive-in movie theater concert, which I never thought would be a thing. But, you know, so we're seeing some changes coming. And I want to talk about that a little bit more. Is there anything industry specific? Jenny, like you said, your kind of events, you're kind of, because you're a winery, you're not food restaurant per se, but you're a space where people gather. Adam being a museum where people come and spend either an hour or 3, and there's lots of interactivity. And Eddie, you're a little different with the fact that you guys don't typically sell food, but you sell it in, you know, a little less contact way. Is there anything that you can teach anybody from your industry, something that you've learned, and let's start with Eddie, that you think can help people with what you guys have learned through this process over the last couple months?
Yeah, I talk to people in my industry all the time, from restaurants, specialty shops, everything. I think the biggest one right now is, one, I think as long as taking the safety precautions, you know, when customers see that you're wearing a mask and you have gloves on, people are very appreciative of that. I think that's one thing I've noticed. 2, I think social media, for sure right now, with the lockdown and people quarantining, you have a lot of people on their phones. So just putting as much content as you can, because this is a great opportunity to get as much people on their phone. So that's been the biggest one for us. And then 3, I think just find ways to be adaptive. I know every industry you can do that. I mean, selling wine to go, who would have thought? Buying online, doing virtual for museums. I think that's awesome, especially now. I think even the way kids are going to learn this, it's going to be changing. Who would have thought people prefer to buy tortillas in the mail than go inside their tortilla shop or their grocery store, you know? So I think that's been the biggest one, is just finding ways to adapt. Every industry is different, so I can't answer for everyone, but I think that's been the biggest lesson out of all of this.
Yeah, and Eddie is right too. Being able to adapt and then being able to take advantage of this time with social media, because everybody is on their phone. Mobile phone usage is way up right now. And think about when you're scrolling on your phone, you're probably at home with your family a lot more and you need a little bit of a break. Or for those of us that live alone, it helps you connect to that outside world, which is why it's really awesome. Adam, let's talk a little bit about you. What have you learned that you think somebody that's similar with events and a physical location type business can learn from what Exploration Place is doing?
I mean, I think one of the biggest learning experiences for me through the last 3 months has been how to effectively manage through a crisis. And I think if I reflect on, you know, things that have gone well and things that haven't, the number one thing that I have learned through this as a manager is, you know, massively over communicate. And I have been communicating with my board of directors in a way I have never communicated before. I've gone from meeting with my senior team, you know, on maybe every couple of weeks to literally every day, every morning, 9 o'clock Zoom call, you know, so because through a crisis, things are changing so quickly that you have to be nimble. You have to be sort of having 5 different possible outcomes to whatever scenario is in front of you, and you are simultaneously managing all of them, and that's that's been our reality for 3 months, and I think actually for at least the next year, hopefully the intensity of it will diminish somewhat. But so I know we're supposed to be talking about tech and social media and things like that, but in some ways, it's the biggest lesson for me has been a managerial one.
No, I love that, because sometimes too, the way we manage is different. I mean, like you said, how many Zoom calls we're going to be doing this month? 400?
Right.
So, I mean, that's the other thing too. There's a lot less in-person discussions. I know the chamber is still kind of half in, half out. So, as you said, Zoom being a social media platform, definitely, because it's also allowing us to grow that area. Jenny, what's something that you've really taken away from this, that somebody who's in a similar business or situation, because I mean, you can think about restaurants and things like that kind of qualify for you, that you've learned that you'd like to share?
Yeah, so mine was very similar to Adam as far as communication. So we would send out newsletters very frequently to our customers and our mailing list. Before COVID, I'd send out probably a monthly newsletter, but that became weekly. We definitely started sending out more content via our blog. So we have a Dawn Cellars blog, and had 3 posts this month, which normally that's something that, or I'm sorry, back in May, we had 3 posts, and that's something that was typically done on a monthly basis. And we got really good feedback from our customers saying, we appreciate you keeping us up to date. We appreciate you continuing to engage with us during this difficult time. So it made them feel comfortable, ordering online, or it made them feel comfortable doing curbside pickup or coming in for to-go bottle sales. So just that increased communication. And then we realized as a business, there was still a demand for our product. So the wine industry saw an increase of 55% in sales in April and May. We didn't quite see that same level of increase, but we were able to stay afloat, and I'm grateful that we're still in business, because there were several businesses that did not make it during this pandemic. So I'm grateful that through frequent communications and by using different tools, we were able to stay connected with our customers and continue to stay in business.
And one thing that, Jenny, that's great, and I want to really reiterate with a couple of our clients. We have a restaurant client, we have a large sports facility who we saw the first inclination of both was to kind of shrink back their communication. And we really pushed them to stay ahead and in front. And even if they were closed, as our sports facility was for 2 months, we still published something on their social media every day. And we over communicated what their new procedures were going to be, and the fact that they were deep cleaning. And with our restaurant, we typically don't send out a lot of emails, but we sent out an email every week to let people know what they were doing that was a little bit different, to make everybody feel more comfortable. And I know for a lot of us, if you don't really know what's going on, because as we look at the numbers in Sedgwick County rising, for instance, and we don't really know what that means, the first inclination of a lot of the people I talked to was to shrink back and to not talk. But I want to point out that with everybody that we have on the panel today, instead of shrinking down what they were doing, they just expanded their digital reach, and how that's really helped them. I've seen it help my clients, and I've seen, like Gary mentioned, we've seen people sign on because they understand that social is really important right now. But over communication, making them feel comfortable with your new procedures and whatever that may be, and just staying in front of your customer. And I don't think anybody was surprised that the wine industry saw an uptick, honestly, the last couple of months. But, staying in front of that customer is so beneficial and really helps you to, stay ahead of their mind and stay top of mind, so that when as things have opened back up, Jenny, you've probably seen more people come in to visit. So that's really awesome. I think Chelsea was going to jump on here really quick. Here you go.
Yeah, thank you so much. And so we have just a couple of quick things, and then we'll actually close with, I'm going to let Adam share his screen after I do a couple of things for some fun Wichita flag pride at the end of this while you all are hopping off. So I just again want to say thank you to our presenting sponsor, Golden Plains Credit Union, and Debbie for joining us this morning and sharing a little bit about them. And then also our Showcase Biz sponsor, Davis Moore Automotive Group. And then for everyone that was on the call, this is kind of hard to see, but I'm going to spin this little wheel and we'll have whoever our winner is for one of our 2021 Breakfast Club passes. All right, Amy Clark. And so I will email you that and we'll go ahead and get you registered just so that way it's already in there. We're halfway through the year, so I think we'll be in 2021 in no time. So thank you everyone for joining us, and definitely stay on for just a little bit longer. Adam, if you want to go ahead and share your screen with Exploration Place's new Wichita flag swag.
Oh yeah, I'm a newcomer to Wichita, as you can probably tell from the accent. I wasn't born here. And one of the things that I've been super impressed with coming into the community is this whole Wichita flag program. And I've been involved in several chambers in my life, and I really want to congratulate the Wichita Chamber because you have moved the needle with this program. It is crystal clear to me that it's been a huge success and the whole community's rallied around it. So I wanted to do something at Exploration Place that supported this. So if I hit my screen share here, I want to show you what we've done over the last 10 days. Can you see that? We've basically done a 50-foot square Wichita flag mural on the entrance of our facility. So we're going to reopen to the public on, well, for members only, July 1st, for everyone on July 4th. And that's part of a whole new entry and lobby experience that we've been creating over the last 3 months while we've been closed down.
Thanks so much for sharing. I think that's a great way for people to hop off the call and go on with the rest of their day. So thanks again so much to our moderator and our 3 panelists this morning and everyone for joining us. Have a great afternoon or rest of your morning and afternoon.